In this part, I am going to look at what happens when we multiply vectors and their representation on an Argand diagram. For this activity, I am going to look at again two vectors, z and w. But this time I'm going to refer to them in terms of their parametric equations. Let's call this r1 cis theta and r2 cis phi. Okay, so let's look at what happens to when we multiply z by omega. Now, algebraically, we know that when we multiply two vectors, we end up with r1, r2 cis theta plus phi. So let's look at the result on an Argand diagram. So let's make this our z, and we're going with z and w. This would be theta, this would be our phi. So we multiply the lengths of those two vectors. So for argument's sake, if this was 3 units long and this vector was 2 units long, then the new vector would have a length of 6 units, and we add those angles together. So it's theta plus phi. And so the resultant vector would be a vector which has an angle of theta plus phi and the length of 6 units. Now let's look at what happens when we divide these vectors together. So that would be z divided by omega. And we know that when we divide vectors, then it will end up being r1 over r2 cis theta minus phi. So going back to our diagram, our new vector will have a length of 3 on 2, 1.5, and this time from theta we are taking away phi, so we are moving around in this direction, and we end up with a vector that has length 3 on 2 and angle of theta minus phi.